has taken over. Let's go. It's Ferrall. Coast to coast. Steaks, chicks, stacks. You and I are going to make a lot of money. It's Ferrall, coast to coast.
It's pain-free Friday. Ferrall's doling out minutes on a mahogany, waxing it up. 100, 200, the bad seed, a broken day, the bad apple with a bad attitude. We are live in New York City. Big Apple. Ooh. People dressed in plastic bags, directing traffic, some kind of fashion shake-it-up should do, along with the original OG, the golf gangster, the Tater and Tutty King himself, Carver High this afternoon. Mafia running it with Luke, I am your father. The rundown on a C2C Friday. You got a double shot with Morency this very hour plus inside these walls of the first hour. Our boy, it's me, Gino B, Gino Bicola of Daily Racing Form to talk about the ponies and get his NFL play of the weekend. In the second hour, the legendary coach Terry Bowden joins us, our college football analyst. And in the second hour as well, Dr. Shivago, Dr. David Chow from Sports Injury Central, all today on C2C. We do have a little Brian Daboll going on at Wrigley today, the businessman special. Carver High on the north side of Chicago, and the Cubs are up.
We certainly do as we get going on a Friday. A big heading into the weekend football Friday on C2C. Let's go. Pain day. Let's make it happen. But yes, the businessman special. Final one of the year, Cubs and the Nationals on a Friday. And I got to tell you, plenty of good seats available, Scotty. If you wanted to go get a brat and go get a beer and go sit out in the bleachers, plenty of good seats available out at Wrigley.
They really do have the best hot dogs and the best bratwurst there of anywhere in the country, bar none. I mean, the Vienna dogs in Chicago are second to none anywhere that I've ever tried. And I've tried hot dogs all over the world. There's nothing like Chicago hot dogs.
There is nothing like that indeed. They are up 1-0 on a Dansby Swanson home run for the Cubbies. So we shall see. Cubs got a man on here in the bottom of the third. We'll see what can happen with that. We have a lot to do today, of course, in terms of the football for the weekend. We will start, though, of course, with last night as Week 3 began at Jet Life. Look, I guess it's kind of what we expected, right, Scotty? I mean, New England did nothing. Jets got up a couple of scores, and the Patriot offense just looked absolutely anemic after that. Boring game, ho-hum, but it's who cares if it's boring if you go to the window, right? You had the Jets -6.
Yeah, I had them, and the under hit. I thought they'd score more. I thought the Jets would score 40-some points on the Patriots, to be honest with you, with Aaron Rodgers wanting to let it fly in his home opener after last year's nightmare Achilles tear in the home opener. So he waited for this day. I thought he played great. He just fell shy of 300 yards. He was hitting Lazard. He was hitting Wilson. They had the running game going. They had 5 sacks. They ended their skid of 6 losses in Thursday nights. They broke all kinds of hexes last night against the Patriots. They had beaten the Patriots in Belichick's last season that ended a 15-game losing streak to them. But they had lost 8 straight to them, I think, in Jersey. So they ended that as well. So they look good. They're 2-1. I'll tell you what, they have everything they need, Mike. They got a defense without Hassan Reddick, who's being fined millions. And then they just won't negotiate with him. It's like the divorce of all divorces. And then they have a running game. They got a great quarterback, and they got, receivers that are good enough to catch his passes because he's so good at getting him the ball. I even thought the tight end looked great last night. The Jets look like a team that's going to win some games. So, the over is certainly in play for them for wins. And I think right now they look to me to be one of the better teams in the AFC through 3 weeks, at least optically, and I think they look like, to me, that they are potentially a playoff team.
Yeah, they look good. And look, they got a chance to extend that even further. They play Denver at home next week. So a chance for them to go 3-1 out of the gates before they play some tougher games against teams like the Vikings, the Bills, the Steelers, etc. So good opportunity for them to start very fast, which they needed after the past few years or the past decade, however you want to look at it.
The past
they
13
needed to start,
years.
they needed to start fast, and they have done that now here this season. All right, we will go wall to wall. Pain Day today. We'll hit every game. We'll look at the numbers for every single game that's going to be on the board, including the one that you'll be at, which at the place the Steelers play coming up on Sunday. I'm sure you're all lathered up, ready for that plane ride out to Pittsburgh tomorrow, and get yourself set up nice for the Chargers and the Steelers early on Sunday, 1 o'clock East kick.
Yeah, I got to, there's been some changes to the itinerary. I have to get up early. I have to drive to pick someone up. I had a straight shot to the airport. Now I'm going out of my way. I'm going a half hour this way, a half hour that way. I got to get up at like 6 in the morning, and I got to do shows, tape stuff. And then I got to hit the road, and then I got to, get this early flight, and then I got to Uber and get to this other, and then I need to start drinking heavily.
What is this picking up the stragglers? What is that about? I mean, you know what? I mean, you just got to get on your own program. You got traveling with other people. It's not ideal.
I don't even
just
like
want to do it by yourself.
I don't even like
it's just so much easier.
I got the call today. Listen, there's been a change in plans. I was like, whose plans? Because I had it all figured out. Be at my driveway at 7:30, and we'll go straight to the airport. Everybody's good. Did you check the bags? Yeah, I checked the bags. Are you sure you checked the bags? Because I don't like him. I don't trust him. There's nothing good about it. Although the group of people, I got a call from the steakhouse today in Pittsburgh. They said, we just want to confirm that you're coming because we don't have valet on Saturday night due to the Pitt game at the Acrisure Stadium. And I said, listen, honey, I don't care about the Pitt Panther football game. You get me that 3-top and you get that tomahawk on the grill early. I'll be there. Don't worry about me. You tell Mike Ferrall's coming. The GM knows me. They even had her call me on his phone because he knows me.
Confirming the reservation. We want to make sure that you're coming.
I got the reservation.
Now Pitt's playing the mighty Penguins of Youngstown State tomorrow afternoon.
No one will go to that game.
I mean, people there. But here's what I hate when they do this, because you know what it does? It makes the field bad on Sunday. That happens all the time to all these stadiums. I don't know why they do that. Just if Pitt's going to play a home game, play them the weekends the Steelers aren't there. Right? I mean, why play?
I agree.
Why you got them both? Why you got them both playing? Tampa's doing the same thing. They're playing the U game there, right? U and USF's playing at Raymond James, and then the Bucks are playing the Broncos Sunday afternoon at Raymond James. It just destroys the field. It's just a bad idea all around.
Bad scheduling.
There's bad scheduling indeed. We'll go through all the NFL. We'll do all the big games: Cowboys and Ravens, Chiefs, Falcons, everything going on, and the huge college slate highlighted. No, not by Pitt and Youngstown State, but USC and Michigan, Tennessee and Oklahoma. Got some really good college games this week that we have to dive into.
By the way, Mike, that's going to be a steamy affair in Pittsburgh on Sunday. I'm hearing 86 degrees and sun, brutal. And then I sit in the sun in my seats directly. So it's a sunglass day. And one good thing was, I told you the guy that the last time we saw him, we were at the Lions tie game, and he said, "Are you guys on drugs?" I said, "Yes, we are." And he said, he reached out to me yesterday. He goes, "Are you using your tickets?" I said, "Yes, I am." He goes, "Good, I won't be there."
Ravens starting their season 0-2, and I mean the numbers and what the market had eyeing this team heading into this season is probably almost up in flames at this point.
As in the last however many games, being down 10 plus points in the fourth quarter, inability to close out, getting picked apart by what is largely considered a below average quarterback with a below average receiving core.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
Simply put, the only way to bet this is over under win total. I love Tyronn Lue. I think he's one of the 5 best coaches in the league. But my dear friend George Sorlis told us to me a long time ago, you can't win if you don't got the talent. Unfortunately, I don't think the Clippers have the talent to match up.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
There's going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than game time decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Crew has already clinched the National League Central. They're 2 games behind LA, that being the Dodgers, trying to maybe get the 2nd seed in the National League standings for October.
Both of these teams have a chance to score some runs against these pitching matchups, so maybe another over, even though we do have a playoff atmosphere. And yes, Milwaukee did clinch, but there's still an eye on the prize of we might be able to chase down the Dodgers and also the Phillies to get one of those buys.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
You can catch Sports Rage weeknights at 10 on all of our outlets, streaming networks, TV stations, radio stations, Sirius XM channel 159. You can catch them on Coast to Coast every day, live from Vancouver. It's Gabe Morency, a.k.a. Sports Rager. Hey, I know you're on these 3 games tonight in college football. I think they're all really decent games.
You know what? Friday nights have really started to light up with these games. We used to, have a Fresno State game, on Friday nights generally in the old days. Now we've got big-time Big Ten football on Friday nights, and other conferences are stepping up. We're seeing real teams play on Friday nights, and some really interesting storylines coming into tonight. Listen, Syracuse are playing good football, Scott, but I think the point spread might be a little ambitious. We've seen these Pac-12 teams now in new conferences that people expected not to be very good have actually been pretty competitive. Cal being amongst them, playing at FSU tomorrow, Scott. So I think Stanford will be able to score. You look at Syracuse; they gave up 22 points to Ohio. They 28 to Georgia Tech was a close game. I like the over tonight. I'm taking Stanford plus the points, Scott. But if we're looking for the best bet of this game, if someone just wants to play like one side of this thing, I would say the over. I would expect there to be points inside that Carrier Dome tonight, Scott. McCord's already got 11 touchdown passes. McCord's doing a great job. And as I stated, Syracuse's defense is just sort of average, right? They're going to give up 20-plus points tonight, which I think gives Stanford a shot to cover the spread, guys. I think the spread's just a little too high, Scott.
What about Illinois going to Lincoln against Dominic Raiola? It's the same thing, 8.5. Illinois is the dog.
Yeah, this one, I think the spread will continue to climb through the day. I wouldn't be surprised if we get a 9 in this game. If you like Nebraska, you missed the best number right now because the public is going to jump in on Nebraska all day long. This is Illinois' first road game. But listen, Memorial Stadium, that place is lit. That place is crazy. When Nebraska are good, it's easy to forget because they haven't been good in a while. But that is a very difficult stadium to play in. Illinois, this is their first road game of the year. I'm always a little bit weary, Scott, when college teams go on the road for the first time. But with that being stated, I think the number is just a little bit too high. Raiola is really good, and he gets a lot of attention, but it's not like this Nebraska offense is totally explosive or anything. They run the ball 53% of the time. They play a very slow pace. Both these teams are like ranked 112th and 115th in the country, Scott, as far as pace of play is concerned. Both teams want to run the ball. Both teams want to let the play clock wind down before they snap the ball. That's why the total is so light. But, it's sort of like when you get a track meet style game, when you know teams are going to trade points. I always like to get the underdog. If I'm getting a touchdown with a team in a game that I know they're going to trade points all night, hey, whoever has the ball last wins. It's sort of the same thing here, Scott, in the opposite way. When there's a football game that we know the total is so low in, that I just stated, we're talking about 112th and 115th as far as tempo of play is concerned. They don't get that many plays off, right? So, therefore, Nebraska really going to pull away from Illinois tonight, Scott. I'm going to take Illinois plus the points.
What about Washington State and Pullman against San Jose State? They're both 3-0, and the number's 13.
I got to tell you, no one in the world thought either of these teams were going to be 4-0. So somebody's going to be 4-0 after tonight. San Jose State have done a nice job this year. They've got the old Navy coach, but they don't run the ball on every play. They actually throw the ball. They've got a very good quarterback. But they haven't, I'm not going to say they haven't played anybody. Their best win is against Air Force so far this year, if you're San Jose State. But Washington State, guys, I mean, that was a nice win last week against the Washington Huskies in the Apple Cup. Big-time rivalry game on a neutral field. Washington State lost more than half their team to the transfer portal when they lost their conference affiliation. Right. And here they are right now, not just winning, Scott, but they murdered Texas Tech. They murdered Portland State. I know Portland State, okay, fine. All right, Texas Tech are a real team. Dude, Washington State beat them down. Pullman is one of the toughest places to play. They've got something special going on there right now. I don't think it's a letdown, actually, for this team after the Apple Cup win. I'm all about underdogs all the time, Scott, but I think this is the one that can get away from the dog here. I don't know if San Jose State are going to be able to keep up with Washington State. We've seen them run the score up on a bad team in Portland State or in an FCS team. We've seen them beat a real team in Texas Tech rather easily. I think it was 37-16. Like they rolled them. We just saw them beat the Washington Huskies. I don't want to get in front of this team, Scott. They're just so damn hot right now.
Are you betting on Michigan with that 4.5 they're getting from USC at the Big House tomorrow?
Yeah, I am. One last stand with Michigan. Their season's on the line here. There was no shame in losing to the Texas Longhorns. Longhorns are ranked number 1 in the country right now. But the season will begin to unravel if they don't win this football game, man. They still have some big-time games coming up, Michigan, on the schedule. And, they go to Washington. They host the Oregon Ducks. They go to Columbus to play Ohio State. You can't have 2 losses, in the month of September and expect to have a good season if you're Michigan. You're going to have 2 losses on the season. Massive game for them. They make the quarterback change. I think it'll help, Scott, but at the same point in time, they better have something up their sleeve besides a wildcat on every play. And we'll see what Wink Martindale does on the defensive side of the football. I wasn't overly in love with the hire, Scott. You get an old school NFL guy going back to college. Seems strange to me. And we all know that Martindale just blitzes on every play. So, hopefully they adjust a little bit. They didn't adjust against Texas, but I don't think USC are as good as Texas are. And this is USC's first road game of the year as well, Scott. Right? They had a bye week. They played in Vegas against LSU, the game I was at, and they hosted Utah State. So this is, it's not easy to go into the Big House. And I like the fact that Michigan's offensive line got going last week. So I think it's a leap of faith, Scott, that Michigan can get it done here as the underdog and win the game outright.
When we come back, we'll talk to Morency about his Dodgers and Ohtani putting a 20 burger on the Marlins yesterday and him getting to 50-50 Ohtani, and also ask him about his favorite plays in the NFL on Sunday Pain Day. It's C2C on a Friday, baby.
Ravens starting their season 0-2, and I mean the numbers and where the market had eyeing this team heading into this season is probably almost up in flames at this point.
In the last however many games, being down 10 plus points in the fourth quarter, inability to close it out, getting picked apart by what is largely considered a below average quarterback with a below average receiving core.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
Simply put, the only way to bet this is over under win total. I love Tyronn Lue. I think he's one of the 5 best coaches in the league. But my dear friend George Sorlis told us to me a long time ago, you can't win if you don't got the talent. Unfortunately, I don't think the Clippers have the talent to match up.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
There's going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Crew has already clinched the National League Central. They're 2 games behind LA, that being the Dodgers, trying to maybe get the 2nd seed in the National League standings for October.
Both of these teams have a chance to score some runs against these pitching matchups, so maybe another over, even though we do have a playoff atmosphere. And yes, Milwaukee did clinch, but there's still an eye on the prize of we might be able to chase down the Dodgers and also the Phillies to get one of those buys.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
Well, first things first, Morency, what did you think of Ohtani in that performance? I don't think I've ever seen a guy go off like that in a baseball game.
I'll tell you what, Scott, as it settles in right now, I figured I had to rock the Dodger gear today in honor of it. How is that not the best game in the history of Major League Baseball, Scott? The guy went 6 for 6 with 3 home runs, 10 RBIs. He's 10 RBIs, 3 home runs, 6 for 6 at the plate. Stole 2 bases, and all in a game in which he became the first 50-50 player in the history of Major League Baseball. Like it's the greatest game ever, and I don't think it's a stretch to say he's the best player ever. I don't like to get into, and I know, the New York media and LA media, it's always, he's having a better season than Judge. Judge is having a better season than Ohtani, and this back. They're both great players. So I don't want to get into that. But it's hard not to say that, Ohtani really is, like, arguably the greatest player ever when you throw in the fact that he can pitch. And he's coming off of Tommy John surgery. Like, he's injured, which is like, oh, don't worry, I can't pitch, but I'll hit for you. Unbelievable. I tell you what, if the Dodgers are able to win the World Series this year, I think it'll be the greatest year in the history of, baseball. Right? I mean, players have had great individual achievements, but how many players have had, a great individual achievement, did something that's never been done before in the history of the sport, and then won the championship to top it off, right? They need to win the championship. Now, baseball is a different sport. Players aren't judged by championships. It's not like basketball where there's only 5 guys on the court. You can only do so much if you're one dude, right? I mean, Ohtani's played in nearly 900 games without playing in a playoff game. Right. He was still great on the Angels. The Angels sucked. So it is what it is. But we all know, Scott, that true greatness is championships. Right. So he's got all the individual accolades already. He's got, he won the World Baseball Classic. He was the freaking closer and struck out Mike Trout to win the game in the championship. So he's done it all except the World Series. I think the Dodgers are right there. And as long as they can, roll together some sort of pitching staff for the playoffs, because that's the Dodgers' issue, guys. The Dodgers can smoke the ball, all right? The Dodgers can hit for real. But the Dodgers pitching staff is just absolutely besieged with injuries, and It's really going to be a day-by-day operation once they get to the postseason who's pitching every day. So it could be a problem for them.
Well, it's bound to be a problem when your pitching is all broken and you have nobody that can pitch and you're throwing anything like a noodle against the fridge to see if it'll stick. I think you're going to have problems. There's no doubt they can score runs, play defense, everything else. But if you can't pitch and get guys out and the other team's raking to all the teams in the playoffs can hit. All the teams
they
in
can
the playoffs
pitch,
are
Scott.
good.
The problem is their pitchers get hurt all the time, like one after another.
What's
right
the
now,
difference?
Glasnow's out. Yeah, but Bobby Miller's not going to be pitching in the playoffs.
Stone's out. Glasnow's out. Kershaw is broken. And
Yeah, but
Bueller,
like I said,
you can't trust.
Stone, no, you can't. That's a problem. So as I stated, they still can put this thing together. It's going to be built, and now you got Yamamoto, right? Yeah, Jack Flaherty's going to have to step up. So they traded for Flaherty. You're going to have Yamamoto. It's going to be sort of by committee, which is tough to get by, like for multiple series. I can't dispute that. But at the same point in time, they still have about 2 weeks or so, give or take. They're not first out of the gate. They're going to have a bye most likely to get this thing set. They're going to be in the mix. I think them on Philadelphia are on a collision course, to see who's going to the World Series.
You would think, but and a lot of people take the field over the Yankees because the Astros have been to 7 straight ALCS. But I would love to see, like always, to be honest with you, I would love to see the Dodgers and Yankees in the World Series, just like when I was growing up. I loved it. I always thought it was the greatest thing that ever happened to baseball. Let me ask you before you get out of here, the Bills play Monday, so we're going to save that for Monday's show. Of the games on Sunday, which one in particular stands out to you?
I think the Minnesota Vikings are going to beat the Houston Texans. I think the Vikings are the real deal. And we saw the Texans get all they can handle from the Chicago Bear defense. Flores is doing a great job with his Viking defense, confusing teams. He's a good defensive coordinator. He's just a bad people person, right? So they've got a great scheme going on there. I like the purple people eaters there, Scott, in that football game. And give me the Atlanta Falcons to win the game outright on Sunday night. Plus the points. They win the game outright on Matt Ryan, Arthur Blank night against the Kansas City Chiefs.
And you'll be on for that game, KC.
We will. Sunday night, baby.
Have a great weekend, guys.
Enjoy it.
Ravens starting their season 0-2, and I mean the numbers and what the market had eyeing this team heading into this season is probably almost up in flames at this point.
As their last however many games being down 10 plus points in the fourth quarter, inability to close out, getting picked apart by what is largely considered a below average quarterback with a below average receiving core.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
Simply put, the only way to bet this is over under win total. I love Tyronn Lue. I think he's one of the 5 best coaches in the league. But my dear friend George Sorless told us to me a long time ago, you can't win if you don't got the talent. Unfortunately, I don't think the Clippers have the talent to match up.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
There's going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Crew has already clinched the National League Central. They're 2 games behind LA, that being the Dodgers, trying to maybe get the 2nd seed in the National League standings for October.
Both of these teams have a chance to score some runs against these pitching matchups, so maybe another over, even though we do have a playoff atmosphere. And yes, Milwaukee did clinch, but there's still an eye on the prize of we might be able to chase down the Dodgers and also the Phillies to get one of those buys.
The early line. only on SportsGrid.
Well, Mike, let's break down the Jets win again last night at Jets Life. Snoopy in the Meadowlands.
Yeah, let's clean this up before we move on to the rest of the games for this week. 24-3 was the final in the Swamp. Aaron Rodgers, of course, had himself an outstanding night. He opened the game by hitting Alan Lazard for a touchdown, which I believe we had yesterday, Scotty, at plus 370. Alan Lazard to score in that game. Now, we had Garrett Wilson for first touchdown, but we did say I'd play him for an anytime as well, and sure enough, Aaron Rodgers did find him on Westwood One Sports, the Birdman.
First and goal from the 2. Shotgun, Rodgers. Hall to his left. Jets trying to add to their lead. Fake the handoff. Rodgers to his right. Throwing. Caught. Touchdown. Terrific grab by Garrett Wilson for the score.
Well, there you go. The Birdman with the call. And Rodgers had it all going last night. I mean, 27 of 35. I mean, he was just completely on.
He was completely on, and he even said afterwards, Scotty, that felt like a young man again, his old self. Here's Aaron Rodgers.
How did it feel for you to get out on the move like that? And
yeah, it felt great. I was, feeling real good out there. I felt good pregame, and I've been progressing. I said to you guys after week 1, it's going to be a process of continuing to extend plays once I feel more comfortable, and this was kind of the first step in playing like I know I'm capable of playing. I felt like I was, myself quite a few years ago.
So he ran out of the pocket a couple times and threw great passes, and then the one time he ran out and took off for the sideline, he got tackled right at the sideline and went down, and everyone held their breath collectively, and he got up, and even the guy that tackled him was like, "I'm sorry." You can see he's like, "I'm sorry." He goes, "I'm all right." Yeah. And like when that guy gets hit,
you don't want to hurt the old guy, You don't want to hurt him. You don't want to knock the old guy.
You don't want to hurt the legend, even though they're rivals. Yeah. Like, you saw that whole thing happen. That's exactly what he said to him.
That's precisely what it was. There's really only one way to sum up the night as far as the New England side of things, Scotty. And look, we said it. They hadn't been in a spot yet this year where they got down 2-3 scores, and man, was their offense putrid when that did happen to them. They were not able to generate anything. But I thought that Jabril Peppers, who of course is one of their better defenders, he summed up the night perfectly for New England.
So how tough was this one? It was real tough. Divisional game, prime time. And, came out, got our ass kicked. Plain and simple.
Plain and simple. We got right.
Listen, I hear all the time, and I heard it today as well, and I keep hearing it, like, all these people on TV. I love Jacoby Brissett. He's so steady. Listen, just shut up. He sucks. I've been telling you for years, like, they keep trying to cram Brissett down my throat like he's some kind of stud quarterback. He's anything but. Who are you kidding? Like, are you serious? I watched this game last night. He did absolutely nothing. He couldn't even throw for 100 yards. What quarterback, like, who in their right mind thinks that guy's good? Seriously, like, I'm not some kind of candy ass over here. I don't watch games and I see some guy have 12 completions, whatever it is, for 98 yards. I'm like, listen, you're hairdryer city. Like, this is who you are. You are nothing. That guy is not a starting quarterback in the NFL. He should be in the United Football League. I don't want to hear it. I'm sick of Mayo covering for him, too. Like, he did a lot of good things. No, he didn't. He did nothing in that game. Nothing at all. 0, kaput. 9-0, nunca.
And, of course, because Mayo put Drake May in for his first NFL action of his career in that last garbage time drive, that immediately, Scotty, starts, like, sounding the bells. Like, let's go. Especially because Brissett looks so bad. And May, now look, this is the last drive of the game. Nobody's really going full speed at 24-3 and a minute left. But he did get him down the field. I know they didn't finish it off because the time ran out. They asked him after the game, and he kind of gave like an I don't know in terms of who was going to play quarterback. He was a little bit more definitive today, I would say, Scott. He said, in fact, he seemed like mad about it, Mayo, when he was asked this morning, the day after, as, he's the quarterback till I say he's not with Brissett. Well, then, you're being a little wishy-washy with it. Last night you said one thing, today you're saying another. He keeps playing like that. He's going to have to put May in, but the problem is May's going to get killed behind that offensive line.
Listen, I don't disagree with that at all, and I'll tell you, here's the deal on this. At some point, this team was supposed to win 4.5 games. That's what the sportsbooks had it at, right? You bet the under on the sheet of integrity. At some level, we said that tonight would be the beginning of them, if you will, starting to stink. And they did. They put up 3 points. It was embarrassing. So now what I'm suggesting is in the coming weeks, you're going to see them lose some more, and then they're going to become completely irrelevant. When they are completely irrelevant, no one is going to care what Mayo says, thinks, or does. In fact, we're not going to run clips of him on this show in his stupid, boring press conferences because he's not Bill Belichick. And so in about 3 or 4 weeks, it's not even going to matter because their season will be over literally in 4 or 5 weeks. I believe in 5 weeks, their season's already over. And then they have to play the kid. Like, if you keep playing this hack-ass Brissett, you deserve whatever you get. You deserve whatever you get. The future is now, and he's, you bring him in and tease everybody with it, and then you're going to what, put him back in the cupboard? Then people start questioning if you're stupid or not. I mean, I'd be like, what are you, stupid? What are you doing here? What are you doing here, stupid ass? Honestly, because all of the tough guy, I'll call it, I'm the head coach. Oh, God, yawn. When you don't win, people are going to be like this. When does the Bruins and Celtics season start? Because the Red Sox aren't going to the playoffs.
And I'll say this, too. I felt a little better about the under 4.5 after last night also. I know we got off to a bad start. They won in Cincinnati. They almost went to overtime last week. I feel a little bit better about the under 4.5.
What are they? They're 1-2 now, right?
1-2, and they've got the next few weeks, Scotty. Niners, Dolphins, Texans, Jags, Jets again. They got a lot of decent teams over the next few weeks. So suddenly that under 4.5, it's looking back up for us. When it comes
I got to tell you too. When I watched him last night, I was like, they kept showing him like he was Belichick or something, and I was like, I'm watching the game and I'm going, oh my God, how many times are they going to show this guy that nobody gives a rat's ass about?
I know.
Like,
and I looked next? Yep. I looked this morning. They were plus 350 at the beginning of the season to have the worst record in the NFL. They're 11-1 now. I think you get a good number on that for them to have the worst record. I know Carolina stinks. There's a few other bad teams. But 11-1, worst record, Patriots. It's not bad. It's not bad at all. So there you go. New England stinks. Jets win. They're 2-1. They get themselves a little extra rest.
I like that bet. 11-1 for them to have the worst record. I mean, that's worth a few bucks.
I think it's worth a poke, as we like to say. It's worth a poke.
Like an Oklahoma State poke?
Poke. Hey, we'll get to the pokes later. I like the pokes tomorrow, Scotty, against the Utes in Stillwater. I like the pokes in that game. I'm excited for the college.
Rising's head off.
I'm excited for that game tomorrow. All right, we'll come back, and we will get into the game at the place the Steelers play. I've got Harbaugh and Tomlin for you because, I can't not have a Friday with Mike Tomlin's Friday Wisdom. I mean, that's a staple on C2C heading into the weekend. We got to have Tomlin's Friday Wisdom. We'll get into that. Houston, Minnesota, all the other games. We have a very busy Friday here.
Pain day. 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 Somebody's gonna get lit up. Pain day. Pain day. Pain day. Pain day. Pain day. Check out
Ravens starting their season 0-2, and I mean the numbers and where the market had eyeing this team heading into this season is probably almost up in flames at this point.
In the last however many games being down 10 plus points in the fourth quarter, inability to close out, getting picked apart by what is largely considered a below average quarterback with a below average receiving core.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
Simply put, the only way to bet this is over under win total. I love Tyronn Lue. I think he's one of the 5 best coaches in the league. But my dear friend George Sorless told us to me a long time ago, you can't win if you don't got the talent. Unfortunately, I don't think the Clippers have the talent to match up.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
There's going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than game time decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Crew has already clinched the National League Central. They're 2 games behind LA, that being the Dodgers, trying to maybe get the 2nd seed in the National League standings for October.
Both of these teams have a chance to score some runs against these pitching matchups, so maybe another over, even though we do have a playoff atmosphere. And yes, Milwaukee did clinch, but there's still an eye on the prize of we might be able to chase down the Dodgers and also the Phillies to get one of those buys.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
Carver High under a tremendous strain. He gets very anxious before big nights of football like tonight, and then all day tomorrow, and then all day on Sunday. Gets very anxious.
Dudes get very anxious. You're right. It's a very big weekend, and we got to make sure that we get to the window as much as possible between now and Sunday night. That's really all that matters.
How about this?
Yes.
So I go to the hotel to see. I'm like, because I swim a lot. I swim laps. No one cares, but I swim laps, and I always like to stay at a place that has a pool that I can swim in, and then I'm looking to see if it has a pool. And the one thing I see, the first thing they put on the literally the first thing they put on the amenities is a mile to the casino. I'm a mile to the casino.
There you go.
The last place
only a mile away.
To go. Listen, I just had the rash, okay, when I was in Vegas. I was in that New York, and I literally would go down at 7 in the morning earlier. I'm at Mafia at 5:30 to work out. When I'm done with the workout, I go down at whatever, 6:15, 6:20 to get a Starbucks or whatever. And I walk into the place, and I look, and every single slot machine is full at 6:20 in the morning. 6:20 in the morning. I'm like, who does that? Who plays slots at 6 in the morning? You have to have something wrong with you. I mean, I would rather be drinking Bloody Marys at 6 in the morning than playing slots. But, I love slots. And Kathy O's a 20 a pull high limit slot player. But do you really play at 6:20 in the morning? I mean, don't you have like a bagel or something, breakfast, a glass of orange juice, maybe sex, anything but like playing slots 6:20? 6 in the morning, you're at the slot machine. I mean, you're cranking butts. They're smoking and playing slot.
Got to get involved. That's it.
Yeah.
Got to get it going. That's what matters.
No, I don't.
Hit the table, hit the slots.
I have a slot
whatever you want
machine
to do.
here at the Ferrall Palatial, Carver High. Mavia's seen it. I have a slot machine, a real one. It's great. I haven't used it in years, but I have one.
Well, you will be a mile away from the casino this weekend.
God.
These Chargers will be there as well. Of course, they stayed on the East Coast all week, after beating the Panthers in Carolina. Let's start with Jim Harbaugh. Feels like a little bit of a playoff game. 2-0 teams early in the season. Big game in Pittsburgh. Here's Jim.
And this week, really, I mean, going to Pittsburgh, the challenge that's going to be. I mean, it's really that is an opener. This is opener against a playoff team. Against the Pittsburgh Steelers. How cool! I can remember, being a young kid, and we're playing the team from Dexter this week, and they're the Pittsburgh Steelers of the Washtenaw County Youth Football League, and let's get. We're actually playing the Pittsburgh Steelers this weekend, so on to Pittsburgh. Let's find out. Let's find out what we're made of.
Listen, this has to be a constant on this show. Listen, every time this guy talks, he needs to be on this show. It's just every time.
What is he saying? What is he saying right there?
He lost me at Dexter, and then it was some kind of Pop Warner League. I think he was talking about.
He drifts off into these things. It's just, I got no idea where he's going.
Do you think his dad sometimes? Do you think his dad is sitting there watching, going like, "What the hell's wrong with him?"
I don't know. Maybe he gets it from his dad. Who knows? Anything's possible, I guess, with the Harbaughs. On the other side of the coin, though, always very definitive. Always letting you know how we feel. It is time during the NFL season. Fridays, Mike Tomlin's words of wisdom.
When you're facing a big game, man, it's not about the destination. It's about the journey. And I'm excited about walking this journey of preparation with our guys this week, man. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that, man. We're still very much in the growth and development stages as a collective in terms of how we go about the business of building and engineering victory. From Monday all the way up until the ball gets kicked off. And so we're learning every week. We're making small alterations or big alterations where necessary in an effort to continue the growth and development of this unit.
Listen, all that matters is that I have shifted locations here, Carver High, from the north side and walking distance to the stadium to the south side down on Carson Street with Evan Yins and that. And then we're going over there to have a couple of irons and an imp with a Yinzers downtown over there. And then we're going to go in a cab or an Uber over the river and then to the bridge and then walk from there down to the place the Steelers play.
Gotta have it, the place the Steelers play. So we have some movement on this line today, Scotty. That is because Justin Herbert told the media today he is dealing with a high ankle sprain.
Ooh.
He got it on Sunday against the Panthers. He's listed as questionable to play in this game on Sunday. So we saw 1.5 most of the week. Now we are seeing Steelers -3 this afternoon. So we have gone to Steelers -3, and the total has gone down to 34.5.
Well, I mean, this is a very dangerous game. The Chargers have a great running game. They're enormous up front. I think I really believe their offensive line is better than Pittsburgh's offensive line, without a doubt. And the Steelers have had problems with, like, Broderick Jones. Fontenot got injured today at practice. Sounds like he's not going to play now. You get injured on Friday at practice, you're not playing Sunday as far as I'm concerned. So I think the Steelers have issues up front. The only reason this is going from 1 to 3 is because of Orange Sherbert, that he's got the ankle. But I honestly believe if Easton Stick plays, that Jim Harbaugh's game plan will be simple. Run the ball 35 times behind that they have the biggest offensive line in the NFL. And if the Steelers can't stop that, they'll lose the game or outright, or they'll get, the Chargers will cover it. That's too many points in this game. It should stay at 1, but it's because of Orange Sherbert, your boy Justin Herbert. Yeah.
Ravens starting their season 0-2, and I mean the numbers and where the market had eyeing this team heading into this season is probably almost up in flames at this point.
As their last however many games being down 10 plus points in the fourth quarter, inability to close out, getting picked apart by what is largely considered a below average quarterback with a below average receiving core.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
Simply put, the only way to bet this is over under win total. I love Tyronn Lue. I think he's one of the 5 best coaches in the league. But my dear friend George Sorless told us to me a long time ago, you can't win if you don't got the talent. Unfortunately, I don't think the Clippers have the talent to match up.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
There's going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than game time decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Crew has already clinched the National League Central. They're 2 games behind L.A., that being the Dodgers, trying to maybe get the 2nd seed in the National League standings for October.
Both of these teams have a chance to score some runs against these pitching matchups, so maybe another over, even though we do have a playoff atmosphere. And yes, Milwaukee did clinch, but there's still an eye on the prize of we might be able to chase down the Dodgers and also the Phillies to get one of those buys.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
They refer to him as, it's me, Gino B. On Coast to Coast is Gino Bacola from the Daily Racing Form. He likes to sell the fact first, where
Clocker reports and the Timeform US past performances. Those are those cool graphics that we're going to be looking at right now as I give you some plays for the weekend. So that way, hopefully we can have some money made for Scott as he's hanging out, partying with the boys at the Steelers game this weekend. Let's give you a few plays first. The first one that we had popped up was Helena's Forte. We're going to bounce all around today. We'll start at Churchill Downs. Helena's Forte is 9-2 on the outside in race number 8. This is a horse who just fits so well sprinting. She's the type of horse who has some speed but can sit off, drawn very well, should be close throughout. She's 9-2, so 4.5 to 1 on the morning line. That's our first one, Scotty. So we'll bounce around. We got 3 different tracks we're going to go to for a play today.
I love it. Let's go to Gulfstream down in Florida. I love that place. Yep. I've been drunk there too.
Plenty of times. It's a party down there, especially the Pegasus weekend they have early on in the year in January is always a blast. What about this particular race number 10 at Gulfstream Park? It's the Princess Rooney. There's going to be a heavy favorite to the outside. We're looking at the Parks race though right now, I think with Algoon. So if we want to talk about the Parks race, we can talk about Algoon first. That's going to be at Parks race number 10. But over at Gulfstream, let's get there first. Gulfstream race 10, the number 3, Hall and Ice. When you're betting, Scotty, a lot of times you're betting horses you like, betting teams you like, but a lot of times it's things that you don't like, right? And I think there's a heavy favor to the outside that makes sense, but the other horses in the next tier, I don't really like them. I think they're over the top. They're late runners. They're going to be past their prime. So we're going to use Hall and Ice, who's 8-1 on the morning line. Then we'll bounce over and finish up at Parks because they've got the big day on Saturday at Parks, Pennsylvania Derby. They've got the Cotillion. We've got 2 quick plays for you over there. One of them, a closer in a race full of speed. They're going to be lining up early on. Alagoon's going to sit back and is going to make 1 late run. So that's the number 6, Algoon, in race number 10 at Parks. And then we'll go for our final one to the Pennsylvania Derby. We're going to go to the number 8, Unmatched Wisdom. Now, this horse is 8-1 on the morning line. That will not be the case. This horse should be more like 3-1. So use that price as your gauge if you're playing Unmatched Wisdom. Anything in the 3-1 range feels fair for a horse who has a ton of upside. So we're bouncing all around Churchill, Gulfstream, and Parks.
Where's that park? It's outside Philly, right?
Yep. They used to be Philadelphia Park. They changed the name to Park. So big racing there. It's their biggest day of the year. A lot of big horses, like Torpedo Anna was the one that faced the boys in the Travers. She's going to be running a little earlier on the card. But we're talking about Philly, and that's going to be my play this weekend for the NFL too, because we got to go. We're going to the Eagles. Now, this is why when you look at the way this game has moved, you just have to look at the value, right? This game opened up with the Eagles as a 3-point favorite. They're laying 3. Now, just because of what we've seen in a few weeks, and everyone's jumping on the Saints, who I like. I gave out the Saints last week. This is a team I've got in futures, but now they're a little overvalued. They've become kind of a buzzy team this week. Philly blew the game on Monday. They absolutely should have closed that out between the drop, between the decision again to kick. They had bad decisions on 3rd and 4th down, and then it compounded with the drop. I just think with the line that Philly has, the offensive line, they'll be able to move the ball well, and their defensive line is better than they've played. So I think it's going to be a back-and-forth tight game. As soon as this number got in the 3 range, I definitely was going to jump in.
Even with Brown and Gardner Johnson and the injuries that they have, and the fact that they're already piling on the coach in Philly, the media, and then they have notoriously been awful on Bourbon Street.
And his seat is hot right now, too, absolutely. This is one of those buy low, sell high situations, right? Because everybody saw what happened on Monday night. Everybody saw Philly really blow that game late. And so nobody wants to touch Philly right now. And that's why that number keeps ballooning up. If you can get it at 3, that was my jump-in point. The Saints, they're probably due for a turnover or 2. They've had such great luck, and they've been really efficient. I don't even want to knock the Saints. I'm just hoping we get a few bounces back the way for Philly. They've got to be ready to rock and roll. If they want Sirianni to keep his job, I think they actually come out and play pretty well. So Philly, it's all about Philly this weekend with the Pennsylvania Derby, and then I'm on the Eagles. So, hey, I hope you have a blast, and I might have to fly out and meet you for the Steelers game.
See what I mean? We're all going to be in Pennsylvania. There's a lot. The Pennsylvania Derby. He's betting on the Eagles. I'm going to be at the Steeler game. Wow.
Cheers, my friend.
Ravens starting their season 0-2, and I mean the numbers and what the market had eyeing this team heading into this season is probably almost up in flames at this point.
It was their last however many games being down 10 plus points in the 4th quarter, inability to close out, getting picked apart by what is largely considered a below average quarterback with a below average receiving core.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
Simply put, the only way to bet this is over under win total. I love Tyronn Lue. I think he's one of the 5 best coaches in the league. But my dear friend George Sorless told us to me a long time ago, you can't win if you don't got the talent. Unfortunately, I don't think the Clippers have the talent to match up.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
There's going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Crew has already clinched the National League Central. They're 2 games behind LA, that being the Dodgers, trying to maybe get the 2nd seed in the National League standings for October.
Both of these teams have a chance to score some runs against these pitching matchups, so maybe another over, even though we do have a playoff atmosphere. And yes, Milwaukee did clinch, but there's still an eye on the prize of we might be able to chase down the Dodgers and also the Phillies to get one of those buys.